Hey guys, I hope all is well. They told me not to do it, but I don't give a damn because we are going fully self-cast Power Siphon with triple Void Battery and not caring about anything. Yeah, you heard that right. I have 3 active Void Batteries thanks to this Phrecia League. I have 2 in my weapon slots and my Ascendancy literally gives me a third. So yeah, no shield, so it's a bit squishy, and what I'm showing you is the build so far. Definitely has some more improvements to be made, but so far the damage seems pretty comfortable to me. I'm at about 10 million DPS with all things factored, and the build took me through all my mapping and guardian farming, got me all 4 of my void stones, and Uber Elder and Maven was a tad bit tough, but that's mostly because these bosses are skill checks more so than DPS checks, and I'm honestly a terrible bosser. I'm terrible at bossing, and I did use up like all my portals to be honest, but I was able to get it together and clutch the kills. So the DPS is definitely there for sure. I will say though, and I hate to admit it, but the mines version of this build is definitely stronger at single target, but I just could not be bothered to play another mine build, and I thought I'd have way more fun with this as self-cast, and I absolutely did. Mapping was just so much fun, definitely 100% faster than a miner or trapper because self-cast is pretty damn fast compared to throwing stuff on the ground and waiting the split second for it to go off, and it was very smooth pretty much from start to finish. Before I move on to explain the build, please let me know at the end what you think of the build, and like, comment, subscribe for more videos. So the gameplay for the build is very simple. You have your ice golem up, pop blood rage, then pop off. The beauty of Power Siphon is you don't need extra proj because that's naturally built in, and you'll get up all your power charges and frenzy charges, and through the quality of life that is pierce and returning proj, you pretty much decimate everything. Then for bosses or cracked up rares, I drop 5 ballista totems that do the exact same thing as me, and then everything gets deleted. It's honestly so smooth, and I absolutely loved playing with it. And every now and then, if I'm ever caught in a sea of mobs, I'll pop my trusty handy dandy screen clearer Val Power Siphon, and with a blink of an eye,
everything dies.
Which? What are you doing here?
Yeah, seriously, what are you doing here? This is my spotlight.
Anyways, so the character is a tad bit squishy, so I did have to be careful, but I did try to put at least some defenses on her with 60% chance to block attacks, over 90% chance to suppress spell damage, and a tad bit of evasion with a Jade Flask. I've also worked in Freeze and Chill Immunity, a cast when damage taken in Mortal Call setup with an endurance charge generated every 15 seconds. I know it's not the best, and it seems thrown together, and it is.
You right.
But like I said, it's still a work in progress, and I'm still working on fine-tuning it. But for now, it's not that bad. Last thing I wanted to mention is I'm running around with a Quicksilver and Flame Dash, and I socketed a standalone Frenzy Gem to help maintain Frenzy charges during boss fights where there aren't many mobs, like during Maven. For my gem setup, the main 6-link is going to be Val Power Siphon, Power Charge on Crit, Sacred Wisps, returning projectiles, energy leech, and elemental penetration. While leveling, you're going to want to do Power Siphon, Power Charge on Crit, and Pierce to start off as your main 3-link because this will take care of some damage and quality of life that it needs to feel smooth. Then once you get a 4th link, do added lightning. Then once you get Pierce on the tree, you're going to swap that Pierce gem with returning projectiles. Then swap the added lightning with Sacred Wisps. And for your 5th link, I ran with elemental damage with attacks for a very long time, which I switched over to energy leech once I had Eldritch Battery, and once you get a 6th link, you can put back the added lightning until you get an elemental penetration gem. Just a disclaimer, you cannot buy this gem from the vendor. You must either trade for it, or if you want to prepare ahead of time, you need to level up a fire pen, a lightning pen, and a cold pen all the way to level 20, then sell a replica Bitter Dream along with those 3 level 20 gems to any vendor, and you'll get back a level 1 elemental penetration. At the start of the league, it's pretty expensive, but I was able to just buy one for less than a divine about a week into the league. Anyways, moving on, for my totem setup, I have Ballista Totem, Multi-Totem, Power Siphon, and Returning Projectiles. You can easily run this setup while leveling, literally 3-link it until Act 4, or you can get the 4th link, which is Returning Projectiles. For my auras, I'm running Vitality, Precision, Wrath, Anger, and Summon Skitterbots. While leveling, you're going to want Clarity, Precision, Herald of Ice, and Summon Skitterbots, which you should be able to fit, thankfully, because we're extremely close to a a cluster of mana reservation efficiency nodes near the start of our tree. Then once you get to the other side of the tree with the other cluster of reservation nodes, you can swap out the Herald of Ice and Clarity for a Wrath and Anger. Then you'd use a lower level Precision and Vitality all on Eldritch Battery. Then I have Flame Dash with Second Wind and Life Tap, and lastly Frenzy, Ice Golem, and Blood Rage all as standalone skills. Now as far as gearing is concerned, all you really want is 2 Void Batteries, and the rest can just fill your res and give you defenses. However, if you want to try and optimize a little, I'd suggest getting a DPS amulet with tons of flat damage and crit multi, then get a ring with elemental weakness on hit and get flat damage on your other ring as well. Then get a Stygian belt so you can socket an abyssal jewel that gives you tons of flat damage, and then get a corrupted helm that gives you +1 to max power charges, and then get a pair of gloves that either give attack speed, flat damage, or boost your DPS in some way or another. And on my boots I have chill immunity, and if you're rich, then you can try to get a pair of boots with life, res, and projectiles pierce, which is a hunter's affix. Then craft chill immunity on an open prefix, and it's going to be pretty expensive to find a good pair like that though, so you don't have to worry too much about it because there's other ways you can get pierce. And lastly, my chest is a pretty unimpressive generic 6-link with life and res. Alright, so the skill tree can get a tiny bit complicated, so you want to start off with the spell damage nodes because of how Power Siphon works. Only increases to spell damage, not more spell damage. Be very careful. Don't get anything associated with more spell damage. It won't help you at all. If it specifically says increases to spell damage, then it will be a times 1.5 multiplier. So each of these, like let's say this 10 spell damage node is actually going to be 15% increased attack damage. That's how it translates with Power Siphon. So you're going to want to start off the tree going this way. Ignore this pathing up here. You want to come up to the right, and then you can easily get your mana efficiency cluster nodes here. And I also initially started off with these crit cluster right here, and then you can also get this life cluster if you'd like. And then once you have this, you don't have to allocate the mastery just yet, but once you have this, you can fit in more auras than you would normally be able to. This is a Thread of Hope massive ring. I've only allocated this just so I can get specific nodes like this life one, this penetration node, this block chance and attack speed node, and then this attack speed and accuracy node. I also don't have these life nodes because I just got this one, but you won't get this like right away. So if you don't have this, then I would actually path up this way first and then get up to this crit strike node and then path this way to access this part of the tree. But other than that, then I go this way. We are starved on a little bit of strength, so I kind of just caved and got this. For now, like I said, the build is a work in progress. The gear is not fully optimized. I'm still working on it. But other than that, you want to go this way. Down here, you want to get to this pierce node as soon as possible because this will give you a huge boost in quality of life and will allow you to remove your pierce gem and put something else there instead. So while you're leveling, I highly suggest you get to this pierce node as fast as possible. Other than that, you want to just get the spell suppression stuff. You want to get this crit stuff. This frenzy charge is really nice, and this accuracy stuff is also huge for damage. Also, the Thread of Hope massive ring is cheap as hell. This is the cheapest one on the market. Everything else is like upwards of a divine or more, so this should not be hard to get at all. Then I do come up here and I get these life nodes, this frenzy node, and this power charge node as a staple. I'll talk about the abyssal sockets just in 1 second, and then I don't ever branch out this way because while leveling I was branching out up here. So then when you're up here, you want to come here, get these block nodes, but you can honestly wait until the end to get these. You don't have to get these right away. And then you want to come up here and forget about this cluster just for a second. You don't need the Eldritch Battery right away. You want to come up to get these wand damage nodes as soon as possible because they're so nice. You get attack speed, accuracy, you get crit multi, and then you get 1 damage per power charge. The 1 damage per power charge is really nice because we're at 10 power charges, so this is 100% increased 1 damage, which is not too bad. Then you want to get this power charge node right here. And then for a long time, I did map over here to this Wand Slinger because of the attack speed and damage. It was really nice for however long it lasted. And then I came down here to get these life nodes. And then this is also very important. Increased damage per power charge. And then crit multi per power charge. And then crit chance per power charge is really nice. Mana regen per power charge. This is all very helpful. I did socket cannot be shocked while at maximum power charges. So I have shock immunity, which is very nice. And then for a long time, I didn't even path this way. I kind of just went down here and then I went down this way to get these life nodes, and then I get this spell damage, and then this heart and soul, and then I went down here to get this life, and then this spell damage, and then I got the power charge that way. That was hella inefficient, so I just scrapped all that and then just went this way and down to get these life nodes, and then this is your other cluster of mana reservation nodes. Once you get these, then you can fully reserve your mana for your auras and then swap over to Eldritch Battery. You don't have too much energy shield, so that's why I have Energy Leech. The Energy Leech does give you more damage while you're leeching Energy Shield. 24% more general damage, not spell damage and attack damage, just more damage in general while leeching Energy Shield. And this does actually give you more damage than, let's say, if you were to have added lightning on here. I didn't even realize mine was level 20 and maxed out. See, this is what I mean. This build is not even optimized. I can I'm about to just buy 20 gem cutters and just pump it into here. What does it even give you? Increased damage. Well, this is an extra 10% increased damage. It's not that bad. So yeah, that's why we have our whole Eldritch Battery, reserve all of our mana, and then do the Energy Shield Leech setup. It's actually really nice for damage. I think in Path of Building, it's like 700k plus DPS with that gem, as opposed to added cold or something, or added lightning or whatever. It does give more damage overall. Anyways, you just get your last power charge here. Alright, and then on my amulet, I do have Prism Weave Anointed. This is a super massive, huge boost in DPS. I was looking for something to anoint on my amulet, and I just ended up with this. Attack speed, elemental damage, penetrates Res, which is huge. Alright, so let me tell you about my sockets. So like I said, this is your massive thread of hope. And then on my small little sockets here, my jewel sockets, I have so much added flat elemental damage and just added flat damage in general. Each one of these gives me upwards of 200k DPS. And I'm not sure at this moment if there's something better I can do with these jewel sockets, but for one node, and these nodes like very efficient and very easy to just allocate, because I'm already here, I'm getting these charges, just get that one node right there. I already have these clusters, so just get that one node here, one node here. For one single node to give me upwards of 200 to 300k damage, that is absolutely insane. And I can even get one here if I hit another level, and one here if I hit another level. And I was thinking about some Forbidden Jewel combination, and then there's a third one here as well. So there's a lot of improvement to that it can be made to this skill tree and this build in general. But overall, it's actually it's so nice. It's so smooth. And then on my cluster jewel setup, I have Martial Prowess, Feed the Fury, and Feel the Fight. All really good for boosting damage. And then it also gives me back some leech and then damage while leeching. And then on my medium cluster jewel, I have Eye to Eye. And for the longest time, I was running Pierce over here. I didn't realize until recently that there is a notable on a medium jewel that gives you projectiles, pierce, and additional target. This is absolutely amazing because, you want a medium cluster jewel here anyways. So I was thinking, what can I do? What can I do for damage, or what can I do to improve? I didn't have this for a long time. I think I had Repeater over here, which is just another DPS node. Unallocating these gives me a whole extra 2 passive points, which I can put anywhere, which is absolutely huge because, like I said, 1 passive point can just give me over 200 to 300k DPS. So freeing up 2, game changer. Once you can get to this point, I would highly recommend getting aerodynamics on like a medium cluster jewel, just so you can have the projectiles pierce. On my Ascendencies, I have Cloak of Flame for the fizz damage taken as fire, which is huge for survivability. Obviously, I have Void Battery here. I was testing out the shrine one here, like while leveling, and it was actually really nice because I got extra damage with brutal shrine and extra HP with the lesser massive shrine, and the brutal shrine would knock back enemies, which would help keep things away from me, which is not not bad. So I switched over to Cloak of Flame once I hit mapping because that's when survivability really starts to matter. And then I tested obliteration first. The build does not need obliteration, just get your void battery from the start. And then over here, I don't know what to get. I can either get this node or get a passive, but adrenaline does give you like 400k DPS while you're mapping, which is absolutely beautiful for your mapping clear speed. It's super nice. 100% increased damage, 25% increased attack speed and movement speed, and fizz damage reduction. It's so good. So yeah, that's the skill tree. That's the build. Starlight Phrecia, I'm at 94. And then one last thing to note, I did forget to mention that Path of Building does not include the damage you get from returning projectiles. So essentially, returning projectiles will make the attack hit twice, but on the second attack, it'll do 62% less damage. So technically I counted that on my path to building as my skill doing 38% more damage. So, you know, that's a huge boost in DPS. So I wouldn't discount that. So that's the build so far. I'm really hoping to take it to the next level in terms of defenses and survivability so that it can hopefully move into the tier 17 territory and more Uber boss territory as well. But we'll see how things go. And so for now, I'll leave you with the Uber Elder boss fight, which I did use up all my portals, and I'll see you guys next time.